we'll see how they handle that tonight in the press briefing.
Carl, great to have you join us for our coverage here this afternoon. Really appreciate it. Love the historical knowledge. Always enjoy talking to you. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Sandra.
You know, Sandra, what Carl was just mentioning there was one of the things that I was thinking about. And you have an election, and elections do have consequences. President Trump got 47% of the vote. Joe Biden got the rest, enough obviously to put him over the top. But then you have a big call for unity in his speech at the Capitol. And then at the same time, just a couple of hours later, undoing many, many things that President Trump did. And some Republicans, some of them who were in the administration, have said to me, where is the move to the middle by President Biden? Where is reaching out to the other side? He's only been president for a couple of hours. We'll see if over the days, weeks, months, and years ahead that he does make some move in those directions. But at the moment, as Carl was pointing out, it just seems to be undoing a lot of things that President Trump did. Where do we go from here?
Absolutely. And this beautiful day continues there in Washington. And John, we will see in the hours and days that come exactly how he plans to govern. And that will be the big question as we move forward. Great to be with you for coverage of the newly elected president, John.
We have got a lot to talk about. Now let's turn it over to Bret Baier and Martha MacCallum to continue our inaugural coverage.
Welcome back, everybody, to our special coverage of the inauguration of President Joseph R. Biden live in our nation's capital. The next time that we see President Biden, he will be walking into the White House, and then he and his vice president will take part in the parade across America before taking his seat behind the Resolute desk. And as was just discussed, he will immediately take action to reverse several important Trump actions. Those acts may not be seen as unifying by many in this country. We're going to cover all of it for you this afternoon. I'm Martha MacCallum. Good to be with you.
And I'm Bret Baier. So as we await President Biden signing those executive actions, we've noticed there's a lot that's unusual about today and a lot that's still very familiar. Despite the masks, the social distancing, the unprecedented security measures, and there's a lot of it, today's inaugural has managed to capture a lot of the tradition of years past.
Very true. But one tradition that we did not see today for the first time in over 100 years was the outgoing president at the inaugural. Senator Lindsey Graham has been talking with the former president during his last days in office. And of course, they worked a lot together throughout the course of his presidency. And he joins us now. Senator Graham, great to have you with us today. Thank you very much for being here. Your thoughts as you have watched all of this unfold this evening?
Well, I thought it was pretty flawless. Roy Blunt is right here. I thought he did a magnificent job. I nominate him to do this for the rest of his life. But Amy and Roy did a good job representing the Senate. Good speech by President Biden. I wish President Trump had been there. That was not to be. I talked to him last night. I think he's in a good mood. He's in a good spot. And we got the future to look forward to as a country and as a party. And Donald Trump will be the strongest voice in the Republican Party for years to come. But Biden's got the same problem every new president does. There's three things. What do I correct about the past president that I thought was a mistake? What do I build on that I think was a success of the past president? And how do I make it about me? How do I chart my own way? And my question is, how will Joe Biden be different than Barack Obama? Will this be the third term of Obama, or will it be something different?
What about the GOP, Senator? It's Bret Baier. In the Senate, right now, there's negotiations ongoing between Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, how this 50-50 split is going to work, whether there's a deal on not blowing up the filibuster. Right. Currently, there are some senators that have holds on nominations already. Where does this stand as far as negotiating power in the U.S. Senate?
Well, in 2000, we had the same situation. I think that will be the template. Democrats will be in charge of the committees, but it'd be an even split. So, you know, 50-50, you can't do a whole lot of big things unless you get a lot of buy-in. I think there's room for infrastructure, maybe something on immigration smaller. But at the end of the day, I think President Biden deserves his cabinet. I'll be voting for the Secretary of Defense and Secretary of State nominees. I think they're both highly qualified, and I want to work with President Biden to get his team in place and see what we can do together.
But what you would tell your fellow GOP senators, Senator Hawley apparently has a hold on Mayorkas for Homeland Security. Senator Cotton says he's not going to give the waiver to General Austin. What would you say? Let them have their nominees?
Well, number one, you can, I think putting a hold to ask questions about border security makes sense. I just worry about the dangerous times in which we live. I've known Lloyd Austin for a long time. I think he's an excellent nominee to be Secretary of Defense. I think his worldview is pretty sound. Tony Blinken is very close to President Biden. I think he's a reasonable person. He's somebody a Democrat would pick. So the way I look at these things, I expect the Democratic president to choose people different than I would have. As long as they're qualified and of good character, I'm inclined to vote for them. So I will grant the waiver to Austin, and I will vote for him. And Senator Cotton's, I see the world much like he does on national security, but that's where I'm going to come out, and I think they're going to get confirmed.
Senator, today when President Trump, then he was still president, boarded Air Force One to head to Florida, he spoke to people who were gathered there, and he said, "We will be back in some form." So what form that takes, I would imagine, is going to depend on a number of things, one of which is the business before the Senate of potentially moving forward with this second impeachment. I know that's something that you are against. Where does that stand today?
Well, it looks like we're going forward. We're about to impeach a guy in Florida, okay? We're about to impeach a man who's out of office for the express purpose of making sure he can never run again. I think it's unconstitutional. I think it continues to divide the country. I think it puts a cloud over the presidency. It will open up Pandora's box regarding the presidency itself. So I would like the Republican leadership to be more firm. Mitch McConnell has been a good majority leader. He was indispensable to President Trump of not only doing judges, but everything else that we did. He's a solid conservative, but I'm hoping that he will make an announcement soon saying that impeachment under these circumstances is unwise and unconstitutional. If this party is going to survive, we've got to realize that Donald Trump had a consequential presidency for conservatives, that he's going to be the strongest voice in the party. I realize that, and I appreciate that. And the test for President Trump is, will he help us in 2022 take back the House and the Senate? Because without his help, we cannot take back the House and the Senate. With his help, I think we can.
But, Senator, you mentioned Senator McConnell. He said the other day that the mob that attacked the Capitol was fed lies and, quote, provoked by the president.
Yeah, I think so. Well, no, I don't. I think there's some things being said by the Trump campaign about the election that were wrong. 66,000 people under 18 did not vote in Georgia. There were not 8,000 felons voting in Arizona. This whole thing about the Dominion computer system was, to me, just way out there. But the people who broke into the Capitol are responsible for their actions. I'm not responsible. Trump's not responsible. If you think President Trump committed a crime, he can be prosecuted. Impeachment is a political exercise that will further divide the country and I think eventually destroy the presidency. But
you just said Senator McConnell is a good leader. He got on the Senate floor and said that the mob was provoked by the president.
Yeah, I don't agree with him. And if you think that would be a crime, to provoke somebody, to incite them to violence. Show me the clip where he did that. What I would say about Senator McConnell, that I think he has been a good leader. He's a great street fighter. I think he'll be a challenge for Schumer. But he is, in my view, giving some legitimacy to this impeachment process that I think is wrong. They impeached the president in the House in 24 hours without a lawyer and without one witness. Now, is that what we're going to become as a country? I hope not.
Senator, you said that you believe that President Trump will play a big role going forward in these 2022 elections. I think a lot of focus, as soon as the inauguration is behind us, is going to turn to those. It seems, though, that there's a lot of folks in your party who want to sort of erase him from the party. And he's talking potentially about building his own party called the Patriot Party. What do you say to all that?
Well, I hope he does, and I hope he'll stay the leader of the Republican Party. If you're a conservative, this has been a good 4 years for judges, for rebuilding the military, for bringing order to the border, for historic peace agreements in the Mideast. This has been a consequential presidency, 3 Supreme Court justices. I hope President Trump understands that his legacy and his best future lies with the Republican Party. I hope people in our party understand the party itself. If you're wanting to erase Donald Trump from the party, you're going to get erased. Most Republicans like his policies. A lot of Republicans like his style. A lot of people are disappointed with him personally at times, but appreciate the outcomes he's achieved for our country. So this idea of moving forward without Donald Trump in the Republican Party is a disaster for the Republican Party. The one way Democrats can survive is for the Republican Party to crack up. The best way for the Republican Party to crack up is try to move forward without Donald Trump.
Senator, do you have any regrets about how you handled all of this over the past 4 years? You ran against President Trump as a candidate, called him all kinds of names. You then got very close to him and became an advisor. Yeah, you ran out of names. He ran out of your cell phone numbers. And, and you then got very close to him and you advised him. Then you were part of the effort in Georgia to talk about votes down there. And then on the Senate floor after the mob came in, you said enough is enough, I'm done, essentially. Do you have any regrets of how you've handled all of this?
No, not at all. I think the president had a right to challenge. If he'd been a Democratic president, nobody ever begrudges a Democrat for going to court. He's not the first politician to say, I've ever been cheated out of an election. But once the legal process was over, I didn't believe it was appropriate for the Congress to overturn certified elections at the state level where there was no dispute about the electoral slate. So we pushed it too far, I thought. I thought the commission idea was a very bad idea. But I've enjoyed getting to know the president. He can be a handful. I've had my differences with him, but he's allowed me to have a say in his presidency that I appreciate. And if you care about the military, he's done as good a job as anybody since Ronald Reagan. If you want to make America safer from radical Islam, he destroyed the caliphate. If you want Iran to be stood up to, he did. If you want China to be taken on, he did. If you want to create order out of chaos at the border, he achieved all of that. He got Mexico to do things that Mexico would never have never done in the past to help us with immigration. So I am proud of what he's achieved. I'm disappointed in him at times. What he did on January the 6th, going to that rally, was a big mistake. It was out of bounds, but I don't think it was a crime, and I blame the people that came into the Capitol, not him.
Senator, before we let you go, do you believe that he should or will run again in 2024, and would you support that?
I think the first thing he needs to do is take a little time to himself. He's going to be a potent force in the Republican Party. I hope he will help us take back the Senate and regain control of the House. That's really, I think, the first step for him and all of us. But if he does run again, I think there will be a lot of support in the party for him. But I'm not worried about 2024. I want to help Biden where I can. I want to get this country back on track. Impeachment is not the way to heal. I want to do what I can to help President Biden stand up to a radical agenda and work to make my party stronger. The best way to make the Republican Party stronger is to realize that Donald Trump did a lot of good for this country, the conservative movement, and work with him, not against him, to make us stronger.
And just to be clear, by helping Biden, would you tell your Republican colleagues to release the holds on his nominees?
Well, they got to make that decision. I'm going to vote for the nominees. I think the DHS person, you know, one thing about being a senator, you get a lot of advice where you ask for it or not, so I don't go around giving unsolicited advice. He's not doing anything wrong. Hawley can put a hold on anybody, so can I. Yeah, they can ask that the to investigate the election. I just don't agree with that. So at the end of the day, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State are going to be confirmed here pretty soon. I hope the DHS guy will get his vote on the Senate floor and give Biden a cabinet he can work with. But we're going to have our hands full. I'm going to be the budget chairman. I'm going to be fighting Bernie Sanders as he uses the budget reconciliation process to impose the Green New Deal, higher taxes, and Medicare for all. So to my Republican colleagues out there, let's work together. We're going to have a real challenge on our hands.
Senator Graham, we appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Senator. Good to see you.
President Biden, as you can see, his motorcade starting to roll from Arlington National Cemetery. The next stop will be the White House.
So with that, we want to bring our panel back in this afternoon. Chris Wallace, anchor of Fox News Sunday, Katie Pavlich, news editor at townhall.com and a Fox News contributor, and Juan Williams, Fox News political analyst and co-host of The Five. Welcome back to all of you. Chris Wallace, let's start with you. Your thoughts as we head into the next segment of all of this. There's a parade. The president, Joe Biden, is about to walk into the Oval Office for the first time as the president of the United States.
Well, I thought that interview with Lindsey Graham was just fascinating. As you guys pointed out, Graham had a very complicated relationship with Donald Trump. He tried to be the Trump whisperer to try to sometimes keep the president on the tracks and doing constructive things while also helping the Republican Party. I think at some points, and certainly the day of the insurrection attempt on January 6th, he did, as you point out, say, that's it, I'm done, enough's enough. And then a day or two later was on Air Force One with the president. So it's a complicated relationship. But, you know, I thought he made a couple of really good, strong points. One was when he talked about, you know, what are we going to do, impeach a guy in Florida? You know, it is a complicated thing. I can understand why people who were in the Capitol on January 6th, you know, don't want to cut Donald Trump a lot of slack. They feel that he was incited that violence, as you pointed out, Bret. Even the Senate Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, said that he provoked the violence. On the other hand, you do have to ask yourself, after the speech today where the President Biden called for unity and talked about his ambitious agenda, is an impeachment trial in the Senate of a former president going to get in the way of that or not? First of all, just in the sense of unity, is it get in the way of that? And then secondly, he's got an agenda. He wants to get his COVID rescue package, $1.9 trillion passed. You have an impeachment trial that could take up 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, which is going to slow down his legislative program. And then the other thing I thought was very interesting was about Donald Trump's role